Today I'm going to be telling the story of how I got robbed at my hotel. This was a few years back at this point, and I wanted to preface this by saying the hotel I was staying at, from a quick Google glance, you would be like, this hotel's fine, 3.9 stars. Was it a more budget-friendly option? Sure, but I had no reason to believe this would happen to me. So I booked the hotel to stay for 4 nights. And I was doing this because I worked for a college and I was doing a lot of recruiting work. So I was kind of bouncing around this metro region. And this metro region was Hartford. And this is notoriously known as one of, if not the most dangerous part of the state of Connecticut. But this is where I was assigned for the week because, my former employer loved putting me into dangerous cities to try to get high schoolers to come to college. But I digress. So everything was going kind of normal, the first few nights. And I was busy, so I was out and about during the day, hopping to high school. And overnight, though, I had the same car this whole time, and it was basically left untouched. Now, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't see stragglers. There were stragglers all over, within walking distance of this hotel. And by stragglers, I mean essentially people that look down on their luck. They got a little tweak to them, a little tweak to their walk. And they're kind of just going around. But I didn't really view it as a harmful thing, especially because a lot of the time I was seeing them during broad daylight. And I was parking in a normal spot at this hotel as well. Like every day I would park, 4 or 5 rows back from the main entrance where you walk in to check in and get breakfast and everything. But the final day, I was in about 9 p.m. and I was just exhausted. It was a long day. I'd stayed up late the night before when I probably shouldn't have. And I had one final day in Hartford to do recruiting events before I had to head back down and make a long drive, right? And I wake up about 7 in the morning. I go outside and all 4 tires on my car are just gone. They're gone, and there's no blocks or anything. So they kind of just left the car sitting there on the pavement. And when they did that, I kind of just stared at it for a second because, I was groggy. I probably had a few beers too many the night before or something. So I was kind of just looking at it like, this actually can't be happening right now. So what I ultimately end up doing after about 30 seconds of silence, just staring at this sad excuse for a motor vehicle, I walk in to the front desk and I talk to the receptionist. Seemed like a normal woman, she didn't seem overly enthusiastic to be there, but it is what it is. And I pretty much just tell her that I don't really know how else to say this, but all 4 tires are gone off my car, and I was wondering if I could see the footage. And her first response to me once I said that was, "Oh, wow, I thought they were done doing that." And I was like, what do you mean they're, done doing that? You mean this has been going on for a while? I thought this was a fine establishment. I had no reason to believe that you were getting consistently robbed for months leading up to this. So she goes on to tell me that they have had a history of a group of guys that have been doing this to normal common vehicles that have stayed at this hotel. And she said it stopped for a couple months, so she thought it was behind them, but these guys clearly saw an opportunity to strike, and my innocent vehicle paid the price. So what happened next was I had to look at the footage, and when I tell you that this was the swiftest, cleanest operation I've ever seen, I mean, these guys really, I almost had respect for them in a weird way. They were able to get in and out of this parking lot, and like I said earlier, I mean, I was probably in the 4th row, very center to the front doors of this place. So really not a spot where you would expect something like this to happen. I was surrounded by a lot of vehicles that, to be honest, are worth more than my car. Why I got picked out? I mean, I guess it's because it's one that a lot of Americans drive. I really have no clue. But I digress. So these guys were able to do a NASCAR pit stop on my vehicle. In and out of there, basically in like 10 to 15 seconds. Really just no care, dropping the car down, and just got out of Dodge. And I ultimately had to file a police report. So the cop kind of showed up. You know, he was a fine guy. He was kind of just hanging out, doing his thing. And I basically told him everything I'm telling you guys in this video. And I ultimately just never got the tires back. Now, what I will say is that my family member, he was going on Facebook the following week, and about 30 miles out from where I was staying, tires were on Marketplace. Now, maybe it's on me for not pursuing that a little bit further, but there's a pretty good chance, mathematically, that those tires being listed and being flipped were mine to begin with. And I have plenty other stories of my experiences kind of going to places across the country, truthfully, that really aren't that safe. I've had plenty of interactions where other people might have felt like they were in danger, but you know, you try to treat these people with respect. If they're on the side of the road or anything like that, coming up to you, asking you for spare change, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, guys, I mean, getting robbed, not being able to go to work that day, and kind of just sitting there feeling so defeated. But I got to give those guys props. I really do. They got in there, they accomplished the mission, and they probably just never got caught, and they got a bag out of it. So yeah, thank you for watching.